Queen Camilla's divorce ultimatum for Charles. It's Harry and Meghan or me. The Queen Consort demands Charles ban the ingrate couple. Furious King Charles refuses to cave. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Reportedly, after a bitter fight over the renegade royals Harry and Meghan, King Charles's marriage to his beloved wife Camilla is in trouble. And palace sources say that a move to ban the couple from Britain was involved. Reportedly, Queen Camilla is sick and tired of Meghan and Harry's never-ending vendetta, and so she tried to officially forbid the two of them, especially Harry, from going to see his 74-year-old father or even staying at any royal property without an appointment, according to sources in the king's inner circle. And a high-level palace courtier says Charles was blindsided. Camilla took matters into her own hands. It sparked their biggest ever fight and left their marriage on the rocks and teetering toward an unthinkable divorce. Camilla's surprising ban came after Harry brushed off his father's olive branch to spend the first anniversary of the late Queen's passing at Scotland's Balmoral Castle. Harry claimed he was too busy, sending Camilla into a blind rage, says the courtier. She has no love lost for her stepson after his vicious personal attacks on her in his book Spare. She'll also never forgive the mind-boggling accusations of royal racism and cruelty by Harry and Meghan since they quit palace duties in 2020 and moved to America. But dissing Charles and his late grandmother by putting a sports tournament first was the last straw. In a shocking battle, apparently she branded Charles a gutless wonder for not taking charge of this royal melodrama before it destroys all of them, according to the courtier. Make no mistake, Camilla is the power behind the throne, insists the source. She demanded the king man up, but when he confessed to being guilt-ridden for not being a good dad to Harry as a boy, she took control. And the source says now the Sussexes have to give notice and beg for a place to stay before any future visits, humiliating them and putting them in their place. So, the latest royal crisis really came to a head after Harry came to London for the Wellchild Awards, and he was denied security and accommodations at Windsor Castle for the night of September 7th. Ever since Charles kicked Harry and Meghan out of Frogmore Cottage this summer, Harry is basically homeless when he comes to the UK, but not really, because he could certainly pay for a hotel room. The courtier says he should have known most royal staff would be at Balmoral with Charles, not sitting around waiting to cater to his every whim. Instead, the king suggested he join him in Scotland, where the Queen died, but Harry said his schedule was too tight. What was he thinking? This, reports the courtier, was a golden opportunity missed. Most people would cancel their plans or at least rearrange them. But Harry didn't want to do that. He just had to arrive on time for the Invictus Games for disabled veterans in Dusseldorf. Instead, he arranged a secret visit to Elizabeth's final resting place in Windsor that just happened to be caught on camera, according to the courtier. And the courtier reports, infuriated Camilla called it a PR stunt. I'm told she's turning the screws behind the scenes to ensure Charles's legacy won't be defined by hapless Harry and his diva Hollywood wife. I've heard she flat out declared it's Harry and Meghan or me, which shook His Majesty to the core. Charles has only a few years to put his stamp on the monarchy after his mother's historic 7-decade reign, but all attention seems focused on the feud with Harry and Meghan that's ripped the family apart. Stripping them of HRH status, relegating them to the bottom of the royal heap isn't enough. Camilla wants Charles to pull the plug and banish them forever, but he is still willing to forgive. And as a result, reportedly they are fighting all the time, and they're even talking about divorce, which would humiliate the king even more. The source says, after being Charles's longtime mistress, Camilla has achieved her lifelong dream of becoming queen, but Harry and his Hollywood upstart are stealing her thunder. She won't be happy until Charles cuts all ties, forever. If he doesn't, their 18-year marriage is facing the chopping block. Camilla is dead serious. Well, it's an interesting take, isn't it? Honestly, you guys, I'm not really convinced that Charles and Camilla would really get divorced at this point in time, but what about you? What do you think about this issue? Please continue to talk about this with us below in the comments section. And now let's talk about the comments that you left on my video yesterday called Stormy Backstage, King Charles's Most Bitter Punishment That Meghan and Harry Did Not Expect. Here is what you had to say. The first comment comes to us from Tanya. Tanya says, King Charles must take a position to keep the citizens behind him and his personal feelings ignored. If he allowed to take the couple back, I think it's the last thing he does, and the citizens don't want him as king anymore. It's ridiculous that he didn't make a decision yet. He must choose his son with the lunatic wife back and abdication, or take the right decision and leave them where they are and don't send them money anymore. Let them live in a smaller house. They don't need a big mansion with the two of them. They can save money there and take a job like normal people do. They're having an allergy for the work hard. They're lazy. Time for King William. He will send them right back. At least Meghan. She's banned from the UK already. And then we've got Kim agreeing. Tanya, I think most of us agree with you. King Charles has got to be tough with the two of them. And you're also right that Harry and Meghan have no business living in that McMansion. I think you're right that it's just the two of them. So why do they need to live in a place with 16 bathrooms? My goodness. And the next comment from Sweta Martinson. I can't understand why King Charles is giving in to Harry, but he is tough towards his brother. Andrew has never talked about the royal family, unlike Harry. I do see your point. As you all know, I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew. But at the end of the day, you're right. Andrew never ever trashed his own family, and I don't think he ever would. And then we have a comment from Helen. Letting Harry and Meghan back to the fold will be the biggest mistake King Charles could ever do. He will lose all respect for his subjects. Big mistake. Not to mention that Harry and Meghan are dangerous. They want to harm the future kings. Helen, you're making a really good point here. I think the royal family needs to forever keep in mind that Harry and Meghan really are a threat. This is serious. They have said some really scary stuff, and I agree, they shouldn't just let the two of them come back. And then Miami Beach Mama, I hope Camilla files for divorce if Charles dares to bring these two clowns back into the royal family. I understand him loving his son, and if he wants to see him and have contact with him, he should do it quietly, privately, in an undisclosed location until the rest of the family heals from the hurt of the betrayal. I think this would be a really good idea. I agree that reconciliation between father and son should be their business. I don't think people should be opposed to that because it's really not our business. But I agree with you that they should do that in private. This should not be a public affair because the public is not willing to accept Harry back. And then Linda, until they are down to their last dollar, will they even attempt to go back to the royal family? Even then, they will blame King Charles and the circus will be in overdrive. Better to forget them. You're probably right. I understand King Charles can probably not just forget his son, but the rest of us, oh, we certainly can. And then Hats last, at least Andrew didn't sell his family out for money and was loyal to our late queen. Harry and Meghan should be exiled, but I don't really know what country would welcome them. I'm pretty sure no country would welcome them at this point. As always, thank you so much for all of your opinions. I feel so happy to be able to convey this information to you. The time for this video is up, but don't you worry, I'll be back for more. Please don't forget to subscribe to our The King YouTube channel to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely evening, and we'll be back to see you tomorrow. Bye. I love you all.